Hello. Say hi as you pop in. I expect to do this. Oh, I'm just getting into the habit. No makeup, right? And I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or I'm just not taking care of myself. But I don't know if it even makes much of a difference whether or not I wear makeup. But yeah, say hi when you pop in. Let me know where you're from, and I'm sure my moderators, I'm sure Andrew and Owen and maybe Kim or who knows who's going to show up today. Maybe Kathy will show up. Yeah, pop in, say hi, and yeah, topics of today. Yeah, I've got a little bit of good news. Oh, Andrew's here. Hello, Andrew. Bloomington, Indiana. Yeah. Um, I'm getting placed. I might be getting placed, right? We're gonna try and get my typing up. I don't know, right? I'm being optimistic there, like extra optimistic, right? But yeah, I'm going into training on Wednesday. So some Zoom training. I work in Zoom a little bit, right? So, and I think it'll be a good place for me to start, right? I won't bring any of my extra talents to the table, right? But it'll be nice if I could maybe even work with the government, in the crisis center. Like I was just finishing my post here, right? I had one of those days. I had one of those days when I wasn't feeling good today. I was working hard not to beat myself up, right? But I have to reflect, right? And let's blame it on Bob Proctor, right? Because he says, if you're not successful, right, it's just because you're just not you just don't got it right? So and it's been a long time, right? And I thought I was actually on the right track there. I really did, right? I really did. And yeah, when the results aren't there, he says, when the results aren't there, it says everything, right? And I don't know what other kind of magic I can pull out of my butt. I'm sure I can pull some, of course I can pull something else out, but right? Yeah, I don't want this to be my whole life. That's the thing, right? But I have to be prepared that this is the way it's going to go, right? You know? Yeah. But how's Andrew today? How's your day been going, Andrew? Right? What did you do today? What do people usually do on the weekdays like today? Like I said, my facilitator in my work program at OFE, right? Really nice guy, right? Gave me a call today, and we were honest, right? Have a real good discussion about my age and how I'll be at the bottom of the list, right? When it gets to being placement, right? It's gonna be like piranhas out there, right? All fighting for all the jobs. But I was so lucky that I got into the program. Like even a week later, right? I wouldn't have the opportunity that I have right now to get a job, and especially it being 58. Like employers got lots of choices, right? And employers right now they're getting 75% of the wages paid, right? That's a pretty good chunk to put some jobs back into the market, but I'm grateful, right? I'm grateful, and it would be nice, and if it's not a minimum hour paying job, that would be even better, right? Yeah. If you want to keep me, right? Like I'm sure whoever gets me, I put 100% in, right? I always put 100% into my. Oh, Sharon's here. Well, Sharon, I'm getting placed. I'm going into like to do Zoom, right? I'll be doing like probably, I don't know what I'll be doing, but I'll be working with clients on Zoom. So it'll be a home-based job, right? It's going to be coming through the work placement program that I was in, but I was going to say I was feeling really down today, right? I was really taking a good reflection on myself, and it just seemed like every video that I was watching was telling me that that I was on the wrong track, and it was just getting me down, down, down. And I even got to the point where I said, forget this. I'm just going to do my Instagram post, right? And do my lives and stuff and just not be online today, because that's all that YouTube wants to show me is stuff that just bring me down. And I thought, I'm normally good. I am a good to be on my own and to be alone and stuff, right? I don't have problems that way, right? I don't have problems that way. But I think the difference is that I'm emotionally, right? Not just physically alone, right? And that's what my post is about tonight, right? Like I'm emotionally alone, right? And I realized like I'm all by myself, right? If I'm lucky, I get an hour, right? With my sisters on the weekend to go shopping, right? Sometimes not, sometimes once every couple of weeks, right? And it's just been me and my cat, right? Just me and my cat. So if I am starting to suffer that way, if I am starting to feel bad, then I can imagine people who aren't used to being alone, right? Who aren't people that enjoy their own company, right? Like, how are they doing right now? How are you guys doing right now? How are you doing, Sharon? How are you doing? Like, you've got your son. Like, you must have like great worries right now, especially you're not even living together right now too, right? Yeah, see, and today I felt that, and if I felt that, right? If I felt that, then there are people out there really, really feeling it. So I think tomorrow I need to I was going to go to my sister's tomorrow. I was going to go to my sister's and work in the garden and try and do a little bit for me, some grounding, and be outdoors a little bit and feel a little bit like a human being. But I think I'll feel more like a human being if I think of some really good keywords and I go on Amigo. Anybody can go on Amigo if you want to talk to anybody, right? Just pick the subject, and you don't even have to download the app or anything, Andrew, right? Like, you would be a great service on there, right? And like, if you were just like, you could punch in your favorite author or something, but anybody online who uses those keywords that they're looking for will come and find you, and you got an opportunity to have chit chats with people, right? And yeah, I enjoyed my time on Amigo, and I think tomorrow maybe, or even tonight, my post is almost ready. I just have the tags to do, right? So maybe after I upload my post tonight, that I'll want to first I'll check to see what YouTube's going to suggest to me for videos, right? But yeah, Amigo, write it down, Amigo, right? You have to have a webcam though on your computer. Like, you have to have a webcam. Oh, you know what? It seems to me, Sharon, is that your cat, or is that your son's cat that you were all grumbling about having to take care of, right? This cranky old cat, or this cranky young cat, this big responsibility that was your son's, and now it's your cat, I'm thinking. Did you just fall in love with your son's cat? I think you did, Sharon. I think you fell in love with your son's cat, and that cat now belongs to you. And I think your son's not going to get it back, right? I love my cat, right? Yeah. Wow. I'm so grateful. Oh, see, I remembered you just grumbling when you said your son was going to move in with his cat and everything, right? And his old boyfriend had what is it, visiting rights and everything, and you were just I knew that was the cat. I know your heart there, Sharon. I knew it wouldn't take too long for that cat to wrap around your heart like that, right? My cat too, like I was saying, it came at a perfect time, right? It gave me a little bit of happiness and a little bit of enjoyment when I so needed it. I so needed it the most, right? But yeah, back to my thing with the work facilitator today, right? And he emailed and he genuinely, right? He inquired after me, just to see how I was doing, and really kind, right? Really, I thought it was really nice. Like I could tell that he actually cared, right? And as soon as I got off of the call with him, I felt instantly 100% better. And he's a stranger. Like well, he's like one of the facilitators, but I didn't know him personally, right? But that's all it took, was that little bit of human interaction, right? It wasn't even necessarily with my family. I haven't heard from my family. Like I said, I get an hour maybe on the weekend, right? Like, yeah. So I can imagine that everybody's getting emotionally beat up. Andrew, how have you been doing? How have you been doing? I know you've been busy, and I know your brother caused you stress and stuff, but that necessarily didn't have anything that would have happened whether the virus was going on or not, right? That bit of stress would have happened onto you. But when it concerns the virus, right? Oh. Aw, see, and that's what happens, doesn't it? But that's how come the hurt lasts, right? Because you can't let go like that, Sharon. Yeah, I know. I did that for a decade with my husband, right? We couldn't let go, and we just ended up, causing each other little hurts and stuff. Because obviously, I know I was starting to see guys and stuff afterwards and stuff, like, and then still have those interactions with your husband, and like you have those conversations, and like I didn't ask him about him, but I'm sure he was seeing women at the time too, right? But I didn't want to invite the hurt, right? I didn't want to invite the hurt, right? But yeah, we do that, like, even though we know it's good, right? We know it's the best thing for us, like to separate and go our own ways and stuff, right? But you remember when it's gone, right? You remember when it's gone, and those little crappy little chores and things that you didn't like to do, right? And then now you got to do them, and then you throw a thought that way. And yeah, I did a lot of that, right? And then I missed him, and then he missed me, and it was 10 years, 10 years. And then I finally just had to say, yeah, right? Don't call me anymore, right? And then I got my divorce papers, right? And I never heard from him since. But it was the best thing that could have happened to me. I was really sad afterwards, right? That I had done that. Like, I regretted doing that quite a few times, but I'm glad I stuck to my guns and didn't track him down, right? And because you drag that pain out, right? Because when it's over, right? When it's over, it's over, right? Yeah. Hmm. I've been giving my ex-husband quite a bit of thoughts lately, right? It's strange, because sometimes I do that, right? But it's usually, that November. November is very hard for me. I always have to take lots of vitamin D3s and stuff, right? And in November, because I get those blues in November, and then November's when I give the thoughts out to my ex-husband. But then Christmas comes along, and then I perk right up, right? But then that feeling comes back in February when we start looking forward to spring, right? And then you're good for 7 or 8 months. Oh, okay. You know what? I didn't think it would really affect you too much. I hope at least you're not taking chances, right? I hope you're at least not taking chances. Andrew, do you have a face mask? I have been making face masks for I think all my family. I just finished making one for my sister Alice, right? But I switched it out with my sister, or with my nieces, right? Because I'm putting nose guards in them now so that They fit really nice on the face. Yeah, I'm getting really good at them, right? I can do a face mask in an hour, but do it professionally, like do it really good with double stitches, so you can be really rough with it and stuff. But the thing is, yeah, my cat plays, but I use those elastic bands, right, for your hair. And yeah, I find them all over the house because the cat likes to play with them, right? And I encourage the cat to play now, right? Because when I got this cat, the cat didn't know what I was doing when I was playing with it and stuff. It had no idea. It just looked at me with its big eyes, right? It's big black eyes. It's got these eyes. You don't even know if it's awake or if it's asleep or if it's staring at you or something, because its eyes are the same colors as its coat of its fur, right? So you can't even tell if its cat's eyes are open. It's kind of freaky, but he's really good. She's really good at night when I'm sleeping, right? She'll let me sleep all night. She doesn't bother me in the least, right? Or at least I don't notice that she bothers me. Maybe she does, right? I just don't notice it, right? Last night I went to bed awfully late, and then I woke up really, really, really early this morning. Oh, yeah, I was wondering though, Andrew, when there's like a bike like 10 feet ahead of you, right? Like say you're bike riding behind somebody else on a bike. What if they cough into the air and then you're riding your bike like proper distance behind, but then you just kind of ride your bike into their cough, right? Into all those particles that are just kind of, before they descend to the ground or wherever they go or get picked up by the wind, right? I was thinking about that because I was riding my bike and I was riding behind a couple, right? I was a good 20 feet away, but it didn't take me long to get to the point that they were at, right? It would only take a few seconds. And I was thinking, I could ride my bike right through a cough, right? Somebody's cough. I wanted to go metal detecting today. That's what I was going to do. That was what the plan is. There's a little boulevard, right, where there used to be an old mansion, and I found some really, really neat historical items on the boulevard. So I thought, oh, well, that'd be a nice way to spend my day. But today it was raining and it was cold, and again, again, that might have been the reason why too that I went melancholy, because it just seemed odd. Like there's nobody around me, so there's no reason for me to have picked something up, right? Unless I did it like intellectually or something. I picked something up, but yeah, I'm not that good, right? There's nobody been around me, so I'm pretty certain that was mine, and I think pretty certain that being alone, right? Feeling like nobody cares, that you don't matter. I don't feel like that now, but you feel those moments, right? But when you get into those moments, if you don't come out of them right away, you could start beating yourself up, and then you end up with just like a depression that could just last for days, right? Yeah. And then when you get that way, that's when the bad habits, right? Because then all those little coping mechanisms, right? Yeah, I get on my bike and I ride to my sister's and I beg for wagon wheels, right? Love wagon wheels. Who loves wagon wheels out there? Wagon wheels and fig Newtons. Yeah. If I were to go down the cookie aisle, I think that's peak freens too, right? I like the peak freens, like the shortbreads and the little cookies with the jam, the thumbprint cookies. Yeah, peak freens and fig Newtons. And I love cookies. I love cookies. Yeah. Like even the wafer ones, right? Those are really cheap. Those are the ones I like them because they're cheap, right? They're only like $1.25, and then you get a little treat, right? When you're on a budget, right? Yeah. I was just saying that if you gave me $30, I could probably do groceries for a month on $30. That's how good I am. I might even be able to do it even less, right? Hmm. Yeah, but being alone all the time, it's not so healthy. Like even Andrew, like even this, you're not alone, right, Andrew? Like you're hanging out online with us, right? You're hanging out with us, so you're not alone, right? It's just your time you're spending alone, right? Oh, I guess you do a lot of alone at work too, right? Yeah. I like this so much better than using the Instagram, right? I like, on my Instagram you can always see the ceiling and the bad paint job I did and everything, but this looks much cleaner, right? Like much cleaner. But yeah, it was really nice, right? It was really nice. Oh, see, my cat doesn't nip. She's just like the sweetest thing. I don't know how I lucked out so bad just to get the sweetest cat, right? Like I can't complain one thing about her. Even when she does this, right? She's very gentle. Even though I noticed on my legs, I've got those little poke marks because when she comes up to the chair, right? She's hoping that she's gonna get treats and she'll put her claws and she'll do that nod kneading thing on my leg. And I notice I have little dots on my legs from that. But she's just like the sweetest thing, never bites, never hisses. Oh, definitely doesn't hiss, right? And she talks, she grunts like a little pig. Hey? Yeah, she'll come right away and I'll introduce her. I'll have a just sip of my coffee. But yeah, well that is but yeah, my cat is around here somewheres, around here somewheres. Yeah, I did live. I went live on my Instagram and she was in the cat litter box, right? And it's just around the corner here. And she was just like in there for 15 minutes. I'm like, hurry up. I have to go live, right? I have to go live. She was just making a noise. You could just tell she was in the cat litter box. So I just thought I would wait on that, right? I don't know about trimming. Oh, maybe, right? The vet can trim her nails, but they would just grow back. I would much rather her learn not to scratch anything. She doesn't really scratch the furniture or anything. She just likes to knead on me and knead into her pillows and stuff. She loves pillows. She's a strange cat that way. She sleeps like a human, right? I have to fix the pillows up on the couch like that because she likes her pillow. She likes to have her head on the pillow when she lays down. It's oh, she's cute. We like her. We like our animals, right? Yeah. But like I said, it was really nice today. I feel much better. My post is done but I did give myself a little voicey me. Yeah, voicey me. I was feeling really, really low, right? But I felt better. I felt better after that conversation and it was nice, right? It was nice that I'm going into training next Wednesday on Zoom. So, and if I can go into that relief work, if I could do relief work, right? And maybe I could get some danger pay and everything too. I would be perfect for something like that right now, right? I don't know what they're going to have me do. You never know. It might be phone soliciting or something, right? Yeah. I won't be right. Cold calling. Yeah. Cold calling. Yeah. Cold calling won't work for me. Cold calling won't work for me at all. I mean, if I could cold call, right? Yeah. I know it'd be working for, but I know better than that because he'd have me making 500 cold calls, no question, no question. And guess what? That ain't happening. Oh, thank you, Andrew. Yeah, I think I think I would be good at that too, right? Because that's where I think my talent is, right? Is understanding human emotions like that, right? I'm a good ear, and because I'm relatable, I can relate to I can relate to all kinds of different people, right? Right? Yeah. And that's why I love my lives, right? I love my lives because we're all so different, right? Like we're all so different, and yet there's got to be something the same because we all enjoy each other's company, right? But yeah, Sharon, a few minutes here and there, but to have your phone. Like I said, I don't all week. It's already Wednesday. I haven't heard from my sister Tracy all week today or all week, right? I haven't heard from her. I popped over to my other sisters yesterday. I went for a quick bike ride. So I popped in at her place for just a couple of minutes. I think we just stood outside, right, and had a quick chit chat before I carried on, right? But I thought, right, tomorrow I'm going to spend some time on Amigo because if I'm feeling that way, so everybody suggest me some good keywords, right? If I'm to reach people that are having a rough time with the coronavirus and stuff, right? What are some good of course there's the classic ones, depression, I guess depression, but then you would pick up other people's depression, right? And lots of people have depression because of drugs, right, and alcohol, and because I guess I could relate to I guess I could relate as a spectator, right, as somebody who knew people, right, because I knew people who were alcoholics and I knew people who were drug addicts, right? Like I knew them, so I knew what that stuff did to them, right? Emotionally and stuff, right? But personally, I never had experiences with that, right? Like even when I worked in a bar, sorry, let me have a sip. Even when I worked at the bar, I never drank. Like there were nights where, I would, right? I would, but it was very, very rare, right? Even afterwards, like being the queen bee at the bar, like the head waitress, right? Like, every Friday, every Saturday night, there was a house party, and, it wouldn't be a house party unless Cindy was there, right? And then I would sit there. I would just sit there and I would sit as close to somebody that I knew, one of my regulars, and I would chit chat with them, and then until I could just like politely, and it would be fast. I never stayed at a house party more than an hour, ever, right? Ever. Unless I was putting on the party. I put on lots of parties. I tell you, when I was we rented this house one time. It was just me and my friends, and we rented this really nice house, that big, beautiful rec room in the basement with the built-in bars and bedrooms and washrooms. And yeah, it was a really nice place. And yeah, I had a friend who bounced at one bar, and then I waitressed at the other bar. And then Friday nights we'd put on these big parties after the bar, right? Every weekend. Yeah. Crazy, crazy. My parties were renowned, right? But nobody cared for me. Well, my friends cared for me, but the people who came to the parties were just people who were at the bars, right? And trash my house or steal my items that lived in my house, right? Like these are people that didn't care for me personally, right? These were just it was my lifestyle. My friends liked to party and stuff. I was the one who had the house, right? So obviously ended up being my party, and every weekend. I tell you, there were times when there were 100 people in that rec room. Like it was more packed than the bar was. I mean, yeah, everybody wanted to have a party after the bar, right? So yeah, they were just looking for a house to to party at. And usually it was my house, right? Yeah. This, and it's funny. It's funny, and the thing is, they were my best friends. They were amazing people. This group that I came together with, right? But you know what? I would have assimilated. I use second word time I use this word today. I would have assimilated quite well into any group that I had been welcome into, right? I would have most likely fit into. But yeah, I was very lucky. I got into a group of people that were all they were all empaths, right? They were all so we all tiptoed around each other's emotions and stuff lots. We knew that group was for fun and for enjoying life too, right? That was that group all the time. We got together every day, right? Every day. And then some of us were like 24/7, right? Yeah. It was it was fun. It was a fun time in my life, right? And it was a time when I had some really good friends, right? And that was just before I met my husband, just before I had lost all that weight, right? It was the happiest time in my life. And I was over 300 pounds, right? My weight, well, my weight was an influence, right? Because I was in love with one of the guys, and yeah, he couldn't get over the fact that I was fat, right? But we were best friends, right? And I would have had him in a second, and I had the opportunity, and right, and I decided to go with something else. I decided to go with my husband, right, at the end, right, and he found his own too, right? He ended up getting married and having children and yeah, it didn't work out for him, but neither did mine either, right? It's just the choices we make in life, right? And it was like this video that I watched today. Now I can't remember what the name of the video was, but it was about this gentleman who got offered to for a new job in Australia, right? And he sits on a bench and he bumps into the guy, and because he'd been struggling with deciding whether or not to go, he asked this gentleman on the bench, his opinion. He says, "Oh, go," right? So that then it shows in the story of him going to Australia, and it shows his whole life of him and his job and how it went and his marriage and his children and how his marriage fell apart and all the different things in his life, right? And then and then he goes back, and then he's kind of like wakes up on the same bench, and he's asking the gentleman again the same question. And his gentleman says, "No, don't get on the plane. Stay here." And then it shows his life as if, he didn't get on the plane, right? And his relationship with his father and, his relationship with his girlfriend and how his new job went and how his life went and how he didn't have any kids and how it was a totally different life, right? But neither one of them was a bad decision, right? It was just a different choice, right? It was different, just a different choice. They both had good and bad aspects of the life, right? But yeah, but at the same time as me looking at it as a spectator, like I could see probably which life he would have probably enjoyed more. But again, it's all about the choices, right, that we make in our lives, right? Just being brave enough to make some choices. Yeah. Choices. I tell you, I've made some doozies in my life, right? And some of them good, some of them bad, right? And some of them were bad, but they had lots of good in them, and some of them were really great relationships that had a lot of bad in them at the same time, or sad in them at the same time, right? Yeah. And we all have those experiences, right? But in the end, we can't regret them, especially, if children become the product of these relationships, right? Or you've built relationships with the extended family on that, and even the fact, lessons that you learn along the way and the happy moments and the things that they bring into your life and stuff, like you can't forget about that stuff, right? When I think about my marriage, it's all positive, like all of it, right? Well, there wasn't a lot. Like there were things I could grumble about him and stuff like that, right? But because nobody's ever perfect. But on my scale, yeah, I couldn't say one bad. Even the way our marriage fell apart, was a really beautiful, beautiful. well, it wasn't a beautiful experience, but it was beautifully done, right? It was done with a lot of caring, right? And he took consideration to my needs at that point, right? He thought of my needs at that time. And yeah, I couldn't have asked you if marriage was gonna fall. Like, I was the first person to have a marriage fell apart in my family, right? It stuck together whether you liked it or not, and right, whether the marriage was good or not. You just, in my day, like everybody, I grew up, I didn't even know anybody who had divorced parents. I didn't know anybody. I might have known one or two whose one of their parents had passed away, but I never knew anybody who was divorced. And now it's so common, and it's a serious, serious, serious problem, right? You could tell with the millennials what a difficult time they had of it, right? Not having those father figures in their families, right? And having the mothers having to pick up those extra jobs and those extra responsibilities, right? And those extra heartaches, and trying to find a little bit of happiness for themselves in between that and stuff, right? How difficult, and how that would impact the kids more. Like, yeah, that generation really got steamrolled as far as I'm concerned. Like, they held up, they did a lot of good and stuff, but they're also hurting at the same time, right? They're also hurting at the same time, and they've never been through anything. Like, their whole generation has not even been close to been dealing with what they're dealing with now, right? And they're all very independent, right? They grew up without dads, in the households and stuff. So, these kids are, I'm tough, right? I know what I'm doing. I can handle it, right? And they're building up big walls around them and stuff. And yeah, so it's up to all of us, right? To try and be a little bit of good influence on people, right? I try, I try and do it through my experiences, right? The things that happened to me in my lifetime, and the things that I figured out that I wasn't doing wrong, or even the things that I was doing right, or even the things I observed, right? Because I was very much into observing other people's relationships, and observing how people treated each other, or dodging it, right? Or dodging it more often than not. I was dodging it, and then I was trying to figure out why, why, and what did I do, right? And I spent a lot of time doing that. Yeah. And then after a while, what you do is you start doing that to yourself, right? And I just recently come to realize that was what I was doing. Like, I was always looking for the inner narcissist, right? Like, I knew I was independent. I knew I had very strong points, but just because you have very strong personality traits, it doesn't mean that you're a narcissist, right? A narcissist means you just don't care about the other person. You're just going to bulldoze to make them see your point of view and stuff, right? And not caring about their feelings at all, right? It's just a big game, and you don't care what damage you do. You're just going to go in there and grab what you want, right? And yeah, I've been around those narcissistic relationships. I've been around lots of them, and I've seen and I've observed, right? Observed, because they are very scary, very volatile, and they can overflow into your kids' lives, and into, well, normally a narcissist, you wouldn't even notice, right? Yeah, what, we'll save that conversation for another day. Yeah, I'm feeling good today. I had a moment today where I could have just thrown my hands up and just cried the blues, and what if, and woisy me, right? And that doesn't happen very often. Like, I can't even remember. I've teared up a few times, but I've never had been months. It's definitely been months. And I noticed it right away when it was coming on today. I noticed it right away. And then I noticed that I couldn't get rid of it. And I noticed that I was noticing that I couldn't get rid of it. And at that point, I knew I was giving it too much attention, right? So then it was a perfect timing when my work placement facilitator gave me a call, and that was just perfect. That was all I needed. That was all I needed, just to touch base with somebody, right? Would just, just to feel like yeah, that's all I need. And that's the thing too. I'm online. I'm talking to people every day. Well, maybe I'm not talking to people every day. I'm just talking to my camera, right? When I go on my Instagram lives and stuff like that, when you don't see the audience, right? When you don't have that interaction, all you're doing is you're just talking and stuff, right? So yeah, I can understand how that happened, and I gotta make a point right away. I'll call my sister next time that happens, right? That's what I should have done. Just, but you don't want to bother people, right? You don't want to bother people because people are worrying about their own stuff. But let me look at the comments here. Like Sharon and Andrew are just chatting away here. I have no idea what's going on. Oh, that's good, Sharon, having neighbors that check on you. I have a neighbor downstairs. He checks on me too, right? He does that a couple of times a month, I notice. And yeah, really, it makes you feel better, right? If yeah, I think, for the next little while, as I come across people and I end up having those conversations, like I do with the grocery lady. I'm just getting rid of these, right? These are all my 7 o'clock, notifications. Like I said, I haven't been spending any time online today. I just thought, it's bringing me down, right? It's making me I don't know what it's making me. I just didn't want to be online today, right? Too much. I just didn't want to be. And it's because it's what I love, right? It's because I love it so much and I don't want it tainted. I don't want it tainted. So I didn't want to be there when I wasn't feeling good, right? But I didn't have no choice. Oh no, it did. It worked out perfect because my caseworker called just before I went live on my Instagram. So my Instagram worked out okay, right? It worked out. I still had a little bit of a heavy feeling over it, but I was feeling much better. But tomorrow I'm going to spend some time on Omegle and see if maybe I can, maybe cheer some people up, right? Have some conversations, because if all I needed was that one little bit of interaction with a total stranger, I don't know him, right? But we had this nice conversation for 10 minutes and I felt so much better. And if I could feel that much better, it just in that short span, you know what, I can pass that along, right? I can pass that along, and I'm sure somebody will appreciate it. But yeah, keywords. I need some keywords for that, right? Oh yeah, I leave Safeway bags at the door. Yeah, I want them to take their shoes off and I want them to wrap their feet in Safeway bags when they come into my house, right? Because they're going from one apartment to another, right? Somebody's coughing, and if they're making dinner, they don't want to cough into their arm. They're going to cough on the floor, right? And then they're going to walk around in it, right? And then the repairman comes and he walks around. He treats it into the house, right? And then I'm playing with the cat on the floor, and the next thing you know, I've got coronavirus. It's always dominoes for me, right? I just go, and it starts here, and this is where it ends up, right? And I do that all the time. I do that all the time. It's funny when I do it. Sometimes I do it like I can just so clearly see how things are going to work out, right? How things are going to work out that way. It's funny when I do that. But yeah, I don't like people, especially right now. I don't want people in my, but I'm not behind in my rent, right? So that's some good news. I'm not behind in my rent, but my utilities are yeah, they're at cutoff stage right now, right? But right, I can't worry about it, and that was part of too what was weighing me down a little bit, because once you start feeling blue, well, then it's like, jump on the bandwagon, let's get all the blue stuff out of the way. Okay, let's think about the bills, and let's look at these, and let's figure out maybe there's something we can do, and and then you start chewing on that, and you go, oh my god, there's nothing I can do, and then why is nobody calling me? I just feel so alone, and then next thing you know, it's all right. Right? It was so easy. It just happened. It happened so fast, and I knew it was happening. Like, the thing is, I watched it happen. Like, I was feeling it happen, right? And I knew the point where I could flip it, right? And I tried to flip it real quick. And it just went right back in. And yeah, it was a couple hours for sure. It was a couple of hours. I felt really, really, really like I didn't matter. Like, I felt like there was nobody out there in the whole world that just even gave a poop about me, right? And then I got my phone call, and then it was all good, right? So yeah, we can maybe have a conversation with the people we bump into in the elevators, or I'm not sure if you're bumping into people in the elevators, but if you get close enough to have a conversation, if you could check on people and give them a kind word or a smile or something, right? I know the lady, when I was at the bank, there was a lady there, and she was directing the line, right? For the bank, and to get to the tellers, to get inside the bank. And every single person was taking a piece off her, yelling at her, telling she's stupid and what a horrible way to run the business. And all she was doing was directing the line. That was her job, right? Her little clipboard, take your name. If you want to wait in the car, you can wait in the car. I'll come and get you when it's your turn to go into the bank, right? That was her only job, right? But everybody decides that all this coronavirus, all these inconveniences that we have to be under, it was all her fault, right? And she walked by me. I checked on her too, right? Like, how are you doing emotionally? Are you doing okay? You're doing a terrific job. You really are doing a terrific job, right? And you can see the fluster, right? And she appreciates it, but then she's all flustered, and she just goes on to the next customer in line and stuff, right? So yeah, if we could just pass on a few kindnesses, right? Kind words to others, right? Yeah, I sure appreciated my kind word this afternoon. Boy, did I, because it could have carried on. I could have worked, I might have woken up tomorrow morning with my answer, but you know what? Just as much chance that I woke up tomorrow without an answer, right? And I would have carried on with the mood that I was in today, right? So at that time, I know I've got to watch what I eat. So for dinner tonight, I made a couple of eggs and a hamburger patty and some sausages, right? So I'm going to do protein tonight, right? And so I just had a nice dinner, and I come do my lives now, and right. 36 units. Oh, it's a fairly large apartment block. Do they have to give you 24 hours notice? I know here in Manitoba, like, nobody's allowed in your building without 24 hours notice, right? Like, the caretaker can't knock on your door and say, "Hey, I need to come in." They're not allowed to do that, right? They have to give proper notice in order to come into your apartment, right? Oh, isn't that nice? I found a loaf of bread on my doorknob, but that was over a month ago. But somebody, and nobody coughed up as to who. It was a nice, beautiful fresh loaf of bread. I really enjoyed it, but I would have liked to have said thank you to somebody, right? And that was my last loaf of bread. I devoured that loaf. It was a big loaf of bread too. It was like a loaf of bread that should have lasted the whole week, and I think it lasted a day, right? Yeah. And that's, I said, forget that. That's the end. No more bread, right? And I haven't had bread. I haven't had bread since, right? I haven't replaced it with anything, right? But only because I don't have the money for the groceries or anything. So I don't know if I would be really good about, making sure that, I didn't have crackers and cookies and wagon wheels, right? Because I love my wagon wheels. I like to separate the chocolate, and I like to separate the marshmallow, right? And then I like to scrape my teeth along the jam. And then eat the cookie. Yeah, love wagon wheels. Oh, your back is still acting up, Sharon? Yeah, when Sharon was here, you would never have known that she had a hard time walking. We walked every day. Yeah, long walks too, right? Yeah, you would never have known that Sharon was having any problems at all. Yeah, I think she outwalked me even, right? And I like walking, but yeah, she was more eager to keep going than I was. Yeah, that and I it's so true, right? I was looking forward tomorrow to actually going to spend some time at my sister's house and working in her garden and stuff, right? And just enjoying a nice day at her place, but yeah, maybe it's too early for us to be, taking those kind of chances. Here I am, calling people, when I see them walking out of their house and stuff, right? I see them, right? And jump into their cars after visiting and stuff, right? I don't want to be that person. I want to make sure that I want to follow the rules, right? And I've stayed safe so far, right? I've stayed safe, right? And here in Manitoba, we have under 30 cases, I think, of the virus now, right? Like we're doing so good here. They're thinking of opening up, and we didn't have any cases of the virus today, but they're thinking of quickly opening it up now, right? But yeah, we'll see, right? Because usually these plague ones, right, like these pandemics, they usually have a second wave. You have your first wave, and then you have the second wave before it disappears, right? That's usually how it works. But yeah. Yeah, fear and anxiety, not something I've ever suffered with, right? There are things I don't like to do, right? But I've had friends who suffered anxiety. I had oh, I yeah, there was even yeah, there was a guy. I thought it was amazing. I thought he would have made the best boyfriend ever. He was such a nice guy, but yeah, he could barely right? He could barely be around me. It was hard for me. His anxiety was so bad, right? And then I had a girlfriend who had a problem compulsively thinking about death, right? Like how bad is that to have to suffer with something like that? She always worried about her death and her children's death and her parents' death and everything, like to always be thinking about death all the time. That must have been just absolutely so hard, right? Like I'm so grateful. Like I suffer with things, right? I have limiting beliefs that block me and stuff, but I don't suffer with terror, right? Like with the terror, and I don't suffer. Yeah, like lots of people suffer, so much more than I do, and I should be grateful, right, to be able to have a life where physically I don't have to worry about pain and health issues, right? Like not like I'm in a position that I would be able to feel afford medications, right? If I had ailments and stuff, I'm not in that position, right? To be able to do that. But, yeah, got to be grateful. When you think you got it tough, you got to think of the other people that are having it even worse, right? Today we went into the second row. Canada went into the second row. So, which means we're not in the top countries that have problems, and that's just a miracle considering, there's like over 2 million cases in the States, right? Like that's an absolute miracle that that's happening here in Canada, and yeah, yeah, we're very, 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 very lucky. But that doesn't mean to let our guards down, right? Not to let our guards down. Oh, Sharon, what a nice feeling that would have been, right? To get a little package, right, for Mother's Day. That was thoughtful. That was thoughtful. I just wow, you guys are writing today like faster than I can read them. And you know that, right? Sharon, you're so right on that because you see how people work, right? But yeah, we to bring out a little bit, it doesn't take much, right? It doesn't take much. Like I learned that lesson today. It doesn't take much to bring out a little bit of humanity. And I can do a little bit. I know I can do a little bit. Yes, I do have wagon wheel eating down to a science. I love marshmallows. I love marshmallows, right? That's something me and my mother did have in common. My mother loved marshmallows too, right? And I got that out for her, right? I do. I love marshmallows. It's a very homey, very comforting. Marshmallows are very comforting, right? Everything. The word is comforting. The camping, right? Doing marshmallows, camping, right? Camping, roasting marshmallows around the campfire, right? Rice Krispies. It's just all of it, right? Yeah, marshmallows just say comfort. Just everything about them just says comfort, right? And when your anxiety comes on, Owen, what is it? What is it that comes on? Do you have to be by yourself? Do you have to get outside? Do you get like tics or tremors, right? Do you cry? Like, yeah, everybody handles anxieties even more. Freeze, right? My sister has anxiety attacks every once in a while, right? And hers feel like mini heart attacks. She's had a couple of them. I remember her telling me about them, and she said they felt like little, like she was in a bank one time. She said that, and she was convinced that she was having a heart attack, and it turned out it was an anxiety attack, right? Yeah, I've never had that. I guess I've always been, it's spending so much time by myself. It's being independent. It's being stubborn like that. And it's having to take care of myself, right? You know? Lots of times I get myself so stressed out that, like if I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my rent and it's overdue and I'm think I'm going to get kicked out and stuff, but that's just extra worry, right? In the end, I know because I always say, well, I'm going to be here tomorrow, like, because isn't that true? We're all, if you lose your partner, you're going to still be here tomorrow. You don't know where you're going to be living, but you're still going to be around, right? You might be sleeping under a bush or something, right? But you're still going to be around. Yeah, with me, it's emotion, right? I still have those feelings. I still feel the rejection. Rejection, I can see that I still have to deal with rejection. Um, Also, I have to work on treating myself a little bit better, not being so tough on myself, right? To give myself little breaks. Like I know what I bring to the table. I know I work hard and I know my heart and everything, right? And I shouldn't make myself feel that I don't have any of those, right? And I do that quite often. Well, I don't do that quite often, but I do it often enough. Even if you do it once, it's once too many times, right? Ah, tense, tense, tense. Now, will that come off as uh anger, Owen, right? Right? Like we not anger, snappish, right? If other people are around you and you get to that, like, and then somebody tries to talk to you, just like leave me alone. Like you get that, like that. And loud sounds too, eh? Oh, well, it's good then that you got a little bit of space, right? Where you live, right? That you don't get that big heavy duty city stuff going on, right? I know. I just want an answer for everything though, Andrew. That's my problem, right? If there's a question, I want to know the answer, right? And it's more, right? I notice I do it more and more and more, right? Yeah. But that's interesting, Owen, right? I'd like to know because I might be able to help somebody else out, right? That has the anxiety, and I should study, and I'm gonna, you know what? I'll write this down. I'm gonna start doing a little bit of anxiety, right? Or at least find out who the good people are, right? Who are teaching lessons in anxiety on coping with anxiety, right? If I can even find those people so that even if I don't understand, right, what you're going through, right? Even if I don't quite understand, because I've got to feel it too, right? It's like me. I've never had a headache in my whole life. I've never once in my whole life ever had a headache, right? So I try to get people to explain to me what a headache feels, right? And I can kind of imagine what a headache would feel, but I couldn't relate to you, right? I would have a hard time sympathizing because I don't understand truly the concept of the pain of a headache, right? Like with me, the brain isn't supposed to feel pain, right? The brain isn't supposed to feel pain. So where's the pain? Where's the pain coming from? The pain's coming from somewheres that feels pain, right? It's coming from there, right? But it's something I can study, right? It's something, there's lots of people who study headaches and stuff, right? maybe I have the so I do know that there's different solutions for different people for headaches, right? Because I've heard of many of them, right? I've heard of many different ways. Like I even was dating a guy one time, and he said, like, all through his childhood, when he'd get his headaches would be so bad, all he could do was lock himself in his bedroom closet in the pitch black, and he would just cry himself to sleep, right? That was the only way that he could get rid of the headaches, right? And then he would have to sleep, 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 because the headaches took so much out of him, right? That he needed that extra time to come back from them, right? But when you don't relate to something, then it's hard to help somebody else through it, right? You can sympathize, but you really don't understand it, right? Because I've never had a headache, right? So, and it's the same kind of idea with the anxiety. If I've never experienced anxiety, right? An anxiety attack before, right? And I've seen them. I've seen people in the restaurants have them, right? And I've tried to calm them down and stuff. And basically, I would find that it was really easy for me to put my body up against them, right? And push them up against the wall and just to hold them. I thought I felt them relax, when I was in the restaurant, and I'd find these people in the bathroom and stuff having moments, right? Having moments, or, because people would think that they're, come up to me and there's crazy people in the bathroom, right? And they're not crazy. They just had gotten themselves in a moment, right? And I tell you, if I had an anxiety attack, right? Because I've seen people have them, right? If I personally had one, guaranteed, I'm going to be the most craziest person you ever came across, right? Right? Because it would be my first experience with one, right? I wouldn't know what it would be. Scary. I bet you it would be super, super scary. Wow. That bad, Owen, eh? That bad? See, and you want to help, but like, how do you help? Like, I've never had a headache. Like, I've never had a headache, and like, I'd love to have that answer for you, Andrew or Owen. I would love to have, just to take that ease of pain. How often do you get those headaches, Owen? Are they like often, or are they like once in a blue moon? Is William here too? Hi, William. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, Sharon, that there are different ways of coping with the headaches, right? I know there were like different tricks and stuff, right? I know that some people used to take their knuckles and rub it at the bottom of their spine, like close to their tailbone, because it mixed up the pain messages in their head, right? Which seems strange because, where's the connection from the bottom of the sprain to the brain, right? But obviously, if it worked for somebody, right? Hi, William. Yeah, but Owen, how often do the headaches come? Do you have a headache at least once a week? Or is it once a month? Right? Right? It would be terrible if you had it more than that. Get them often. That doesn't say much, right? How many is often, right? Like, I know people who get a headache and their headaches last for like a week. I've known people like that where they can't sleep, and that's how come I used to be able to pick up shifts, right? When I was waitressing stuff, I would be able to pick up shifts because, people would have these chronic headaches, and they knew to call me, that I would take their shifts if they had a headache, right? And they didn't want to give up their shifts. They wouldn't give up. They needed the money just as badly as I did, right? But I did that for quite a while, right? Oh, Oh, adrenaline. Okay. Okay. I do get adrenaline rushes sometimes, when I'm out in the countryside, when I'm going for my drives and I get excited when I see something interesting or something, right? I do get adrenaline rushes. Nothing really, yeah. I have nothing really in my, when I find something, when I'm metal detecting, I get excited, right? And when I played VLT's video lottery terminals, I got that feeling, right? Yeah. Get those, get those adrenaline rushes, right? Yeah. Be addictive, right? Wow. Every week, Owen. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Do you get times when you have had relief in your life? Have there been periods in your life where you've gone like maybe a year without a headache? Like, have you ever had those times happen? Can you imagine having a migraine every week? You know, Cindy, stop complaining about your life. Seriously, seriously, I have nothing to complain about. Absolutely nothing to complain about. Right this moment, I have a roof over my head, right? I had wonderful dinner, right? I had a wonderful dinner, got a cup of coffee. I'm sitting here with my friends doing my live, making content for my brand. Like, the laundry's done. I never talked to my sisters today. I could have done that, right? But yeah, my post is done. Like, life is good. Like, why? Why did I beat myself up today? Was that like a test or something, to see how I would pull myself out and how long it would take? Yeah. Right? And then it was so fast. It was so fast. And all it took, right? It just took having a quick conversation and it was over and done with, right? And I could have clung on to that. I could have made that, carry on for a couple of days. And then I could have made some serious big decisions, in that span, right? Well, probably not, but, but I could have. Yeah. Mm. Aren't you watching Exploring in Me, William? Eames is got a video every Sunday night, like amazing one, mansions and castles, right? Wow, did he ever come across a great one? This house that he went into, like every room had a fireplace, right? Every room had a fireplace. Mind you, he takes risks, right? He takes lots of risks. But he's a young guy and he's very responsible, very dedicated to his channel. I don't think he's missed an upload in years. Every week he uploads, right? And I don't think he's missed an upload in years. He started his channel the same time I did, right? But yeah, it's exploring in me. His videos are absolutely amazing. His videos will compete with Exploring with Josh, right? I don't know. I haven't seen Exploring in Josh in ages, probably 6 months. I'm not even sure. Is he uploading still? Do you guys know if Josh is uploading? I haven't watched one of his videos forever. He's got it. He would never. He loved his channel. I'm sure he's still uploading, right? Yeah. If he's not doing abandons, I'm sure he's doing his travel videos. Exploring and me. Exploring and me. Yeah, everybody. And tell him Cindy sent you because he loves me. Yeah, he loves me. He would be so happy to hear that I'm sending people to his. But his explores, nobody does better explores than he. Nobody does better explores than he does. Yeah, exploring and me. I'm just gonna write it here. That's the name of his channel. Yeah, Go tell him Cindy sends love, right? That Cindy sent you. But yeah, go watch his videos. Yeah, he like he did a mention just a couple of weeks ago. It had all the old paintings, like all the old antique paintings of, the ancestors and stuff all over the walls still and everything, right? And he goes through the treasures and he goes up to bell towers in the churches. He does lots of churches and stuff too, right? But oh, just somebody leaving a message. I get a lot of those on Instagram, right? I answer all of them. But they're usually just men looking for women, right? But I answer them anyway because I always figure that it's somebody. So, and there have been some really great guys that I have met there, right? And some really nice people who support my brand, but in the majority, they're just men looking for women, right? And I just keep saying, that's not what I use my platform, guys. Smarten up, right? It's not what I use my platform for, right? And then you end up, you tell them straight out, and then they just don't get it, right? And then I get myself in that same situation where I can't say no. And then I end up having to chat with people when I've got things to do. I've got things to do, right? Yeah. So I just looking here. But yeah, I'll make sure that I chat with. I'm not saying that he was one of them. So if you're watching my live right now, you could be just a nice guy who just wants to make friends, or you need somebody to talk to, right? That maybe I could provide a little value, and you need a friend, and you just want to have a little chit chat. I'm good with that too, right? But yeah, I don't use my platforms for personally, right? I don't use my platforms for that, right? So it's something I deal with them. I haven't figured out exactly how to do it, but yeah. Anyway, everybody, I think that is my live tonight. Yeah, wow, some great conversations going on tonight too, right? But yeah, check out his videos. Yeah, you'll like all his videos. I'll ask you about it. Let me know tomorrow. Watch one of his videos and let me know tomorrow. He uploads every week, and he doesn't upload crappy videos. Every single one of his videos are absolutely terrific, right? Yeah. Okay, everybody. That's my good chair. Thank you so much. I feel really so much better today. Like it was a rough one. I was having a rough one today. It's been months since I had one of those days, right? One of those give up on yourself days. Nobody cares about you, Cindy days. You don't matter, Cindy, right? What are you doing with your life, Cindy, right? And we all have those moments, but I'm glad it was only a moment, right? I'm glad it was only a moment. Okay, everybody, have a great night. We'll see you Sunday night, right? And if you want to come and hang out with us, we go lives on Instagram, right? 5 o'clock Central on Instagram, Okay, see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye. And take care of those headaches, right? I'm going to do some research. I'll find a solution. I'm an empath. I want to help. Good night, guys.